Okay, so we're talking cake. Yes, we're talking cake etiquette, and you call us tasting the cake. Well, Janet's in the house, and she brought the cake. So before you came to us, we're actually doing cake tasting. It's quite nice. I wish I could share with you. But I'll share with you about it. So Janet, Adetu is in the house. Hello, Janet.
Thank you so much. Good morning. Good morning. The cake is really nice, actually.
Yes, indeed it is.
Right. We're talking about wedding cake etiquette. Cakes that are too good to cut. Of course, we all know.
Is there any cake like that?
Yeah, have you seen some mighty human-sized cakes that they really look too good to cut? And that's the whole thing. But you know, there's a wedding day is incomplete, really, without that wedding cake, because that's really the center of attraction for most weddings. So you don't overlook the wedding cake, really, even though a lot of people don't like the fact that it's got a lot of sugar and all of that. But there's a lot of symbolism in the wedding cake itself. To start with, the cake itself, it doesn't matter how simple it is. It can go from 2-tier to 5 or 7-tier, and you name it, even down to the new style of just only cupcakes. But it's part of the ceremony. The wedding cake is truly part of the ceremony. So if you're a bride-to-be or a groom-to-be or mother-in-law to be, you don't overlook that aspect of the wedding.
No, I don't.
And traditionally, to say the least, the wedding cake really symbolizes that the wedding is going to be a prosperous married life. Most times when it comes to, that's what they say traditionally. And they also say that with wedding cakes as well, being white most of the time, it's a symbol of purity. And again, they also say that it's a symbol, it's a sign to say that when they're cutting the cake and they're feeding each other, there's elements of commitment in that marriage. And you know, most times when you save the top tier of the cake, you know, it's either the symbol of celebration of the first child or the first wedding anniversary. All right. So we don't overlook the wedding cake at all. So I have a few steps that I'm going to mention when it comes to choosing the right cake or wedding cake etiquette in general. For me, I would say the first thing you have to do is choose the designer of your cake. Don't make assumptions that that cake designer, because you've seen a cake in the window or you've seen a cake that it looks as if they did it on their Instagram and you're not sure who did it really. Choose the right designer. When you're choosing the designer of the cake, I would say make sure you find out about the reputation of that designer. Don't just go hook, line and sinker. I would suggest that you actually find out from recommendation. All right, get a designer that has been recommended by someone, used by someone. All right, and the most important thing about cakes is a good cake designer will actually tell you the latest trend or the latest style. A cake designer that just says, okay, show me what you like. Oh, go and look in the magazines, go on the internet, show me what you like. And you go there with this humongous picture. And she says, yeah, I can do it. If you're not sure about that designer, just go with a good cake designer will tell you, okay, this is nice, but you know what? Nowadays, this is what they're doing. What's the theme like? We'll ask you 1,000,001 questions and guide you in choosing. They won't just take a picture from you. That's a good cake designer. My strategy number 2 really is, once you've taken or chosen a cake designer, is have a budget. All right, don't just say, oh, my cake, this is what I want, and be caught off guard when they tell you the price. Have a budget, have some idea, have at least a range of ideas of, if the cake is 2-tier, it will cost you this. If it's 5-tier, it's going to cost you this, and have that as part of your wedding budget. All right, so that you don't overspill your costs. Remember that when you're choosing the cake, a lot of things go into it. So if you're having an ordinary sponge cake, of course the price is going to be a whole lot lower. But if you're having a real fruit cake like we've seen here, it's going to have an element of alcohol in it. And those are the things that pump up the price. So choose what you want. Do you want a cake that's going to last you for a long time, that can stay for a whole year, which is usually the fruit cake? Bear in mind the alcohol content. Or do you want a cake that you think you want to consume quickly because maybe you don't really have preservative means where you live? So that's going to determine the price of your cake.
Of course, it's also possible for you to have fruit and cake.
You can actually mix, So if you want to, beat the price down, maybe one may be the smallest maybe whatever, and then the other that you want everyone to eat can be a lot cheaper. Yeah, all right. Choosing the design is step number 3. I did mention it before. Don't just choose anything and assume that the person you've never used before is going to be able to do it, because everyone can tell you, yes, of course I can do that, I can do that. But if you haven't seen the creativity of that person from pictures or from real life things that they have done before,
keep it simple.
Don't make it don't make assumptions, because yeah, I mean, people do have creative minds, but some people say they can do something that they really can't do, or that they've never done it before, and then you're going to be the scapegoat because they're going to practice with you. Your wedding cake is not a cake time. It's not the time for you to practice with someone new. I would suggest keep it simple, or let them repeat what they have done before. Or if they tell you, well, I'm making a cake this weekend for a certain wedding, you might just want to see that cake when it's done before they deliver it, to have an idea of what that cake is likely going to look like when it's yours. Tip number 4 is a color scheme. Now, there's no point in choosing fuchsia pink for the bride, teal for the groom, and you come up with a bright yellow cake. That's a bundle of confusion, I would say.